Have you ever wondered why some pains linger, even after every test comes back clear? What if I told you that within and around your body, there is an unseen architecture, a luminous map that holds memory, emotion, and the pattern of your health? What if your suffering is speaking in a language of energy and not only of cells and nerves? What if your pain isn't just physical? Imagine a hidden layer to your existence, an energetic blueprint that holds the key to your health. This video will pull back the curtain on the unseen forces shaping your well-being, revealing how understanding your energetic body can unlock a revolutionary new path to healing, far beyond what you've ever been taught. Listen closely. You are not broken. You are complex. You are a living field, a constellation of subtle currents and rhythms that have been shaped by moments, choices, traumas, and ancestral echoes. In this space, old grief collects like sediment, joy expands like light, and imbalance can manifest as an ache you cannot name. To heal here is to learn a new grammar, how energy moves, where it stagnates, and what it needs to flow. I promise you hidden secrets in plain sight, practices and perspectives that have been remembered by sages, validated in surprising scientific ways, and adapted for the modern seeker. There will be enigmas, patterns that tease understanding at first glance, and there will be practical guidance you can use today. This is not quick fix spirituality. This is a slow, tender excavation of yourself, a reclamation of the power you may have believed was lost. Stay with me. Stay with your breath. There is hope in this discovery. There is a key, subtle and precise, that when turned, reorients not only symptoms, but the story behind them. Only those who remain until the end will be invited to feel its vibration, to recognize the signposts of their own energetic landscape, and to try a simple, potent practice that can begin to shift the field. If this resonates, gently anchor your intention now. Subscribe to this channel, like and comment below, and if you feel called, type the phrase, "I choose to awaken my consciousness," to raise our collective vibration together. Your single moment of commitment ripples farther than you imagine. Your voice here matters. Your presence heals part of the web. Throughout what follows, I will guide you like a patient cartographer, mapping the invisible with compassion and clear eyes. We will look at ancient maps and modern instruments. We will learn how frequency and attention shape cells, and why placebo is not a trick, but a testimony to how belief and energy align healing. You are the protagonist of this exploration. Each pause you take, each breath you return to, is a step deeper into your own field. Keep your curiosity soft, your judgment kind. There is no rush. There is only revelation, unfolding at the pace of your readiness. Now, breathe in slowly, and as you exhale, prepare to lift the veil. We begin by unveiling the invisible you, beyond organs and bones, so you may see for the first time or anew the energetic being that has been guiding your journey all along. Unveiling the invisible you, you have lived with a map that names every bone and organ, and yet there is another map, fainter, older, and alive, that has been guiding the weather of your body and the course of your pain. This is the energetic body, a living field of motion, memory, and intention that wraps around and weaves through the physical. It is not less real because it is subtle. It is simply written in a different language: frequency, flow, polarity, and attention. Imagine your system as a garden, The visible plants are the organs. The soil, light, and underground streams are the energetic currents that determine what grows, what withers, and what blooms. When you learn to read the soil, you cease to blame the leaf alone. You become the gardener who tends what is unseen. What is this field? It is the breath that is not just oxygen, the intentional flow that informs cellular rhythm. It is the memory lodged in tissues as tension, the pattern that replays trauma as ache. It is also the subtle radiance around your head and heart, a diagnostic map that responds to thought, touch, and song. You feel it as warmth, pressure, tingling, or a spacious knowing when you become present to it. Practical presence, a simple practice for feeling the field, 7 to 10 minutes. 1. Sit with soft spine. Close your eyes. Allow your inhale to be full and your exhale longer. Count 4 in, 6 out. Let this rhythm anchor you. 2. Place your right hand a few inches from your solar plexus and your left hand a few inches from your sternum. Do not touch. Feel the space between your skin and your palm. 3. With each exhale, widen your awareness to the space around your hands. Notice temperature, subtle pressure, or a magnetic pull. Name it silently. Warmth, movement, still. 4. Breathe into any sensation that feels stuck. On the out-breath, imagine a slight widening of the field, like a tide pulling back, releasing tension into your hands. 5. After 5 rounds, slowly sweep your attention upward, pausing at throat, third eye, and crown. Notice changes. Finish by placing both palms over your heart and resting for 1 minute. Journal prompt after practice. What shifted inside the first 2 minutes? Where did relief arrive first? In thought, body, or feeling? A word on healing. The energetic body holds patterns long before they become visible symptoms. If you meet pain only at the level of the organ, you may miss the invitation beneath it. A memory seeking repatterning, an unexpressed truth, a field that needs realignment. Healing begins when you learn to converse with the currents, listen, adjust, and respond with compassionate presence. Tonight, before sleep, try the practice again and simply observe without expectation. As you become fluent in this language, sensing instead of diagnosing, you will notice a new intelligence at work in you. The invisible you will begin to reveal its architecture. Channels that yearn for movement, centers that long for light, and rhythms that want recalibration. When you can sense this field as clearly as a heartbeat, the stories of old healers and the instruments of modern inquiry begin to harmonize. Beyond organs and bones, what is the energetic body? You are more than skin, bone, and blood. There is a subtle architecture that holds you together. A luminous scaffold of currents, centers, and fields that shapes how you feel, how you heal, and how you show up in the world. Think of your physical self as a house. The energetic body is the blueprint, the wiring, the weather that moves through its rooms. When the blueprint is damaged, the house grows dim and noisy, even if the walls look intact. Begin by sensing. Close your eyes for a moment. Breathe slowly. Now place a palm an inch above your sternum and notice warmth, pressure, a tingling, maybe nothing at first. That sensation is the surface of a deeper field. The energetic body is made of patterns, flowing currents, meridians, vortices of light, chakras, and subtle layers that relate to your emotions, memories, and life force. These layers are not fanciful. They are experienced by yogis, shamans, mystics, and many who have simply learned to listen inwardly. Why should this matter to you? Because invisible dissonance often precedes physical symptoms. A held grief can knot the heart field long before it shows as illness. Chronic fear tightens breath and constricts energy flow, leaving tissues undernourished. When you learn to read and restore the energetic body, you can intervene earlier, not by denying medicine, but by offering a softer, complementary path that unravels the root pattern. Practical practice. The 3-wave sensing. Sit comfortably. Place one hand over the belly, one over the heart. Inhale for 4 counts, imagining a warming wave rising from belly to heart. Pause. Exhale for 6 counts, visualizing the wave spreading outward like ripples from a stone. Repeat 9 times. After the 9th breath, imagine those ripples expanding into a gentle cocoon around you. Name silently one feeling that needs your attention. Breathe and allow the energy to soften that feeling, like light melting frost. This simple ritual trains you to read energy, calm its currents, and become the steward of your inner weather. Practical care. Daily microchecks. After waking, scan from crown to heels for any tension or dullness. Pause where the field feels heavy and offer 3 slow breaths toward that place. Use sound. Hum for 30 seconds and listen to where vibration lands in the body. Sound moves energy. It untangles subtle congestion. Remember, the energetic body is not mystical fluff. It is a living process that mediates emotion, belief, and physiology. Healing at this level is often felt first as a shift in clarity, appetite, sleep, or a subtle easing in relationships. Your body will never ask you to choose between science and spirit. It only invites you to learn both its maps and its music. As you grow fluent in sensing and tending this inner architecture, you begin to see patterns that echo through time. In the next section, we will trace how ancient traditions mapped these same territories long before instruments could measure them, and how modern research is beginning to catch up. The aura and energy fields. Are they real, and how do they manifest? There is a soft, luminous skin that surrounds you, not made of flesh, but of movement, of memory, of intent. You are more than a body wrapped in clothes. You are a living field, a personal weather system that shifts with thought, emotion, and breath. If you have ever felt off after being in a room, or sensed another person's mood before words arrived, you have already felt this field. This is the aura, the energetic halo that carries signals your nervous system sometimes misses. Let me speak plainly to your heart. Your pain may live on these edges. Tension, chronic ache, recurring illness. They can register first as disturbances in the field, ripples that eventually press on tissues and organs. The aura is a precise instrument for inner diagnosis if you learn to read it. How does it manifest? Notice 3 simple ways: color and temperature. Your field may feel warm or cool. It may pulse with shades that reflect your emotional weather. Not everyone sees color. Many of you feel it as tone, a heaviness, or a thin clarity. Boundaries and density. Sometimes your edges are tight and rigid, like a glass sphere. Other times, they are porous, like mist blending into the room. Rigid edges often mean contraction and protection. Porous edges mean sensitivity and surrender. Movement patterns. Think of your field as a slow-moving current. When grief flows through, motions are long and low. When joy rises, the current quickens and lifts toward the head. Pain often lakes in a spot, repetitive, refusing to move. Practical practice, a gentle exercise to meet your own field, 5 to 8 minutes. 1. Sit comfortably. Breathe slowly into your belly 3 times. 2. Soft gaze a blank wall, 5 feet away. Soften your eyes until the edge of your body blurs. 3. Slowly extend your hands, palms facing each other, and separate them until you notice a subtle resistance or cooling between them. This is the space your energy occupies. 4. Bring one hand close to your solar plexus without touching. Watch, feel for warmth, tingling, or a subtle pressure. Breathe into whatever you sense. Name it: tiredness, grief, restless. 5. With each out-breath, imagine the edges smoothing. With each in-breath, invite a color or quality you need: calm blue, clear white, gentle gold. Stay gentle. End with 3 gratitude breaths, a daily clearing you can do in under 2 minutes. Place a hand over your heart. Breathe in for 4, out for 6. Visualize a soft vibration washing from your hand into the chest, loosening stale patterns. Whisper a short phrase: I release what no longer serves. Open your hands, feel the space expand. When you tend the field, the body follows. Small shifts in your aura change how cells respond. They relax, they repair, they remember health. This is not magic divorced from matter. It is an intimate feedback loop between what you feel and what your biology becomes. Tonight, when you rest, practice the soft gaze exercise once. Notice not only sensations, but stories that surface. Record one small observation in a journal. The next step is where science meets subtlety. How we begin to measure these impressions and translate them into healing. In the next segment, we will meet the tools that make the invisible visible and the methods that allow you to witness your own field with clarity. The aura and energy fields. Are they real, and how do they manifest? There is a quiet cartography that surrounds you, an unseen weather, a shifting map that responds to thought, memory, and intention. Many call this field the aura. Others name it the biofield, prana, chi, or luminous sheath. Whatever the label, it is not myth for those who learn to read its subtle currents. It speaks before words do. It moves before the body does. And it carries information about your inner landscape. Listen. When you walk into a room, something changes. The air might feel heavier, lighter, warmer, or sharp. That is not imagination alone. It is the field meeting other fields. These interactions shape relationships, influence moods, and over time can steer the body toward health or disease. If you have felt inexplicable fatigue after certain people or sudden clarity in the presence of another, you have already noticed the aura working. How does it manifest? First, as sensation, tiny electric-like tingles around the scalp, a coolness at the base of your skull, or a pressure behind the heart. These are the language of the field. Second, as resonance, emotions, memories, and patterns amplify or dampen when they encounter a matching frequency. Third, as subtle forms that precede physical symptoms, a tightening in the chest before anxiety becomes a panic, a clouding around the head before a migraine. The body often follows where the field leads. You are the protagonist in this story. Begin with a practice I call the halo hand scan. Quiet your breath. Sit tall, yet soft. Extend one hand, palm down, a few inches from your other arm. Move the hand slowly, away and toward the arm, in small arcs. Notice the space between. Do you feel warmth, a gentle pull, micro pressures, or a whisper-like resistance? Close your eyes and let impressions arise. A color word, a temperature, a movement. Name it silently. This is observation without judgment. Do this for 3 minutes each side. Record 1 sentence about what you noticed. Next, learn to read the weather of your field. Before reacting to a situation, pause 3 breaths. Ask, where in my field is this feeling rooted? Place your attention like a fingertip on the area. Solar plexus, throat, chest, moot. Breathe into it. Often, simply directing awareness reorganizes the field, releasing charge that would otherwise lodge in tissue. Boundaries are practical. Imagine a membrane of breathable silk, porous to kindness, impermeable to drain. It is not protection from light, it is selective permeability. When you sense depletion, draw this membrane closer with an inhale. Exhale to relax it. Practice daily until the movement becomes as natural as blinking. Finally, tend to the field like a gardener. Gentle touch, sound, salt baths, and quiet intention prune what no longer serves and feed what needs nourishment. Keep simple logs. After breathwork, how did your hand scan change? After a difficult conversation, what shifted in color or pressure? Over weeks, patterns emerge, map keys to your inner weather. There is much more to explore. There are ways to make these currents visible, instruments and images that translate subtle energy into form. In time, you can learn to see, measure, and dialogue with the field, not as abstract theory, but as a living ally in your healing. The science of subtle energy. There is a careful intelligence at work beneath the skin, a living field that organizes cells, emotions, and memory into a coherent whole. When you begin to speak of healing beyond biochemistry, you are invited into this subtle architecture, currents of information, light, and rhythm that frame your physical form. This is not mystical wishful thinking. It is a frontier where refined observation and quiet inner knowing meet. Imagine your body as a resonant instrument. Each organ, each tissue, emits a tone, not audible, but measurable as patterns of electromagnetic pulses and ultra-weak light. These tones entrain one another. They attract or repel. They calm or excite. When harmony prevails, cells repair and systems flow. When dissonance takes hold, pain and dysfunction often follow. The science of subtle energy seeks to describe these tones, how they arise, and how you might influence them with intention. Start by feeling, not by analyzing. Sit still. Place one hand over the heart and the other a few inches below the navel. Breathe slowly, allowing a deep, soft hum to form in the chest, the kind of sound you make when you say to yourself. Let that hum settle into a rhythm with your breath. Notice warmth, a slight pressure, or a subtle vibration between your palms. These sensations are signs. Your biofield aligning, heart and gut beginning to converse. This is a simple experiment in coherence, a practical way to awaken your own energetic laboratory. Modern instruments have begun to catch up to what contemplative traditions have always known. Devices that measure electromagnetic patterns, detectors that record faint photon emissions from living tissue, and imaging that maps biofields. These tools reveal that living systems radiate information. Cells communicate not only through molecules, but also through frequency. Pulses of light, bursts of electrical potential, and rhythmic oscillations that carry instructions faster than slow biochemical cascades. Frequency becomes language. Vibration becomes design. What you do with this knowledge matters. A few steady practices shift the patterning of your field. Grounding, placing bare feet on the earth, or visualizing roots from your spine into soil, stabilizes low-frequency tremors and reduces scattered energy. Heart-focused breathing, coupled with a gentle hum, increases coherence between your heart and brain, often bringing immediate calm and clearer intuition. And intention, applied with steady attention, acts like a tuning fork. It nudges your resonant body toward an order that supports healing. As you learn these ways, remember, science does not replace mystery, it illuminates it. The measurable and the felt are two sides of the same coin. You are both subject and instrument. Your suffering has not been a failure. It has been a signal, a pattern asking for retuning. In the next section, we will look at how researchers capture these phenomena, the cameras, the imaging methods, and the surprising pictures of energy made visible. There, you will meet the tools that translate the whisper of your field into data, and you will see how observation itself deepens your capacity to heal, measuring the unmeasurable. There is a quiet revolution happening where ancient knowing meets instruments. Photographs of light that seem to map the invisible. You, the seeker, are invited to stand at this threshold, curious, steady, ready to witness evidence that the subtle body leaves impressions beyond the skin. Kirlian photography and modern biofield imaging are not magic tricks. They are ways of translating electrical discharge, gas ionization, and electromagnetic interactions into visible patterns. In Kirlian images, fingertips glow with halos that shift with emotion, breath, and state of being. Contemporary systems, often called GDV, gas discharge visualization, or EPI, electrophotonic imaging, refine this method using electrodes and controlled environments to capture repeatable changes tied to stress, relaxation, and focused intention. These images are not portraits of the soul, but they are fingerprints of a living field that responds to your inner weather. What do these visuals tell us? They remind us that your body is an orchestra of currents. When you feel frightened, the glow constricts. When you center, it expands and smooths. Researchers find correlations, patterns that change with illness, with meditation practice, with pain levels. The data is imperfect. Noise exists. Critics point out that humidity, pressure, and electrode placement alter results. Still, when used thoughtfully, these tools give a language to phenomena you already feel. They validate that your interior states ripple outward and can be observed. Make this practical. You don't need a lab to begin exploring. Become a laboratory of presence. Find a quiet corner. Rest your palms above your knees. Close your eyes and breathe slowly, counting to 4 on the inhale, 6 on the exhale. Notice the temperature of your hands, the faint pulse at the wrist. Hold no expectation, only observation. Place attention at the base of the fingers. Imagine a subtle warmth there, like the low glow before dawn. Allow the breath to move that warmth gently toward the fingertips. If you feel nothing, keep soft attention. Subtlety may take time. After 3 minutes, slowly open your hands and observe sensation. Tingling, coolness, lightness. Draw a mental note. These felt sensations are the simplest biofield measurements you possess. Qualitative data that is nonetheless real. If you ever encounter a Kirlian image of your own, Treat it as a mirror, not a verdict. Use it to deepen inquiry. Compare images taken before and after a centering practice, or after releasing a long-held story. Witness patterns smooth or tighten. Let the evidence guide compassionate adjustments in how you care for yourself. There is a humility here. Instruments can help, but they do not replace your inner discernment. Respect the balance between measurable change and the mystery that eludes measurement. Approach any technology with ethical curiosity. Consent, context, and compassion are essential. As you learn to read your hands, and perhaps to read images, a deeper question emerges organically. What organizes these luminous fields? What frequency, what subtle motion shapes the dance you now begin to see? Follow that question inward. The next layer invites you to listen to how vibration tunes the cells themselves. Frequency and vibration, how energy influences cellular function. Listen, beloved. Your body is not only tissue and bone, it is song. Tiny currents, pulses, and oscillations live in every cell, and they carry memory, intention, and possibility. When we speak of vibration, we are not speaking only in poetic terms. We are naming a language your cells already understand, a language of rhythm, resonance, and relational tuning. Imagine each cell as a small bell. When a clear note meets it, it rings true. When discordant noise arrives, the tone warps. In the space between those notes, healing or harm can take root. Frequency, the rate at which something vibrates, organizes matter. It coordinates proteins, gates membrane channels, and influences biochemical conversations. Modern practitioners and researchers are beginning to see patterns. Mechanical vibration, light pulses, and subtle electromagnetic fields can shift gene expression, cellular repair, and even how immune cells find their way. You are the conductor of that orchestra. Your breath, your voice, your focused attention are instruments that alter resonance. This is not mystical wishful thinking. It is an invitation to participate. When you lower your inner tempo, cells slow their stress responses. When you cultivate a steady, compassionate tone, sympathetic overdrive softens and parasympathetic repair rises. Your inner field collapses separation and invites coherence. A practical, gentle practice to begin tuning your cells. Find stillness. Sit with your spine soft but upright, feet grounded. Place one hand over your heart, the other over your belly. Close your eyes and listen to the subtle hum inside you. Inhale for 5 counts. Feel the body expand. Hold for 2. Exhale on a sustained, soft for 8 counts, allowing the vibration of the sound to radiate from your chest into your palms and throughout the body. Repeat for 6 minutes. Each time you hum, imagine the edges of each cell smoothing, like the surface of a pond calming after a stone is removed. Finish by placing your palms on your thighs, feeling residual vibration, and whispering an intention. I invite harmony into every cell. You can also use ambient frequencies, a low singing bowl, ocean recordings, or tuned instruments that match a comfortable range for your voice. Avoid forcing high pitches. The healing tone is often low, round, and steady, a frequency the viscera can accept without shock. Hydration amplifies resonance. Water carries and transmits vibration through tissues, so sip mindfully before practice. Observe the sensations that arise. Maybe a warmth blooms in your hands. Maybe a thought dissolves. Let curiosity, not expectation, be your guide. Over time, you will notice changes in sleep, digestion, emotional regulation, subtle shifts that signal cellular rhythms leaning toward coherence. There are days when the field around you feels thick, when your personal vibration meets dense collective noise. In those moments, return to micro-rituals. 3 intentional hums before rising. A brief poem over heart during transitions. A single minute of breath sound before sleep. These small acts are stitches that reweave cellular patterning. You are not merely trying techniques. You are reintroducing intimacy between your awareness and your cells. As you deepen this relationship, the way your body reads signals of safety, of nourishment, of permission to repair changes. Your inner environment becomes fertile for transformation. And as the cells begin to find their tone, a quieter force comes into view. How belief, expectation, and attention begin to reshape that song. In that meeting point, new layers of influence appear, waiting to be explored. The placebo effect and mind-body connection. Evidence of energetic influence. Listen closely. You are not merely a body that reacts. You are a living field, responsive and creative. The placebo effect is the clearest scientific mirror we have of that truth. When belief, expectation, ritual, or care change outcomes, they reveal that unseen currents inside you can alter matter, chemistry, and healing. Researchers have watched this happen. In pain studies, a spoken suggestion of relief triggers the brain to release its own painkillers, endorphins, and endogenous opioids. In Parkinson's research, expectation raises dopamine in precise brain circuits. Immune markers, hormones, even wound healing rates shift when meaning is changed. The mind's tending is not fantasy. It is measurable biology folding in on itself, reorganizing toward balance. And, from an energetic view, these are the marks of a coherent field aligning with intention. But this is not magic divorced from ethics or common sense. Placebo-like influence can be nurtured responsibly alongside honest medicine. It is about activating your innate capacity to participate in your healing, to engage attention, ritual, and heart-aligned intention as co-creators with modern care. A practical way in, a short, grounded ritual you can use daily. Find a quiet seat. Place your dominant hand over your chest, the other on your belly. Breathe 3 slow cycles. Inhale for 4, hold for 2, exhale for 6. Let each breath become fuller, softer. As you breathe, name an intention aloud, softly, a simple truth. I invite balance, or may this cell remember health. Speak it once on the inhale. Visualize a gentle golden frequency tracing outward from your heart on the exhale. Anchor the experience with sensation. Feel warmth under your hands. Hear a single hum in the throat, or press fingers together to create a tactile anchor. Repeat this for 5 minutes. This practice builds an energetic expectancy, not wishful thinking, but a focused, embodied signal your nervous system can follow. Over time, the nervous system learns the pattern. Stress hormones soften, vagal tone improves, inflammatory markers can decrease. In other words, your field becomes a training ground for health. Cultivate 3 habits to deepen this work. 1. Ritual of witness. Each evening, Name one discomfort without drama. Witness it like a weather report. Then make one small, loving action toward it. A warm compress, a walk, a breath technique. This separates identity from symptom and invites healing intelligence. 2. Sensory reenchantment. Use smell, sound, and touch to mark healing moments. A specific essential oil, a chime, or the press of a warm stone can become a cue that opens the healing circuitry. 3. Micro-commitments. Small repeated promises. A single deep breath on waking. A 5-minute care pause. Create neural reliability. The field learns from habit. Remember, belief alone is not the goal. Coherent alignment of intention, body, ritual, and action is. When your inner environment matches your outer care, when intention meets practice, you become a living laboratory where possibility can unfold. Hold this with gentleness. You are learning to listen to the language of your body's field, to converse with it. Keep an attitude of curiosity, not force. As you practice, you will feel subtle shifts, temperature changes, calming waves, or a clarity that rises like a tide. Let these be your guideposts as you step more deeply into understanding how unseen currents shape the visible self. You made it. You stayed present. You listened with more than your ears, with a hunger that lives in the bones of the soul. For that, you are chosen by your own longing, disciplined by a courage that does not need applause. Sit for a moment in the quiet sweetness of that accomplishment. Let it land. What you have opened here is not a single lesson, but an initiation, a recognition that the body is a living map of consciousness, and that beneath every ache and every joy, there is a field of meaning waiting to be read. You are not broken. You are not merely a collection of symptoms. You are a luminous organism, learning its own language. Hold this truth. Each breath you have given to this practice has rewired a small corner of your being. The unseen has been invited to speak. The threads of old tension have been observed, and through attention alone, began to untangle. That is profound work. Celebrate it. Not with grand gestures, but with a soft, internal bow to yourself, the inner monk recognizing its own devotion. If this journey moved you, if something shifted in the marrow, let your ripple extend. Subscribe to the channel to keep this lighthouse burning. Share this video with one person whose heart is weathered and ready for light. Press like if this teaching soothed a wound you have carried. Then, write in the comments the line that seals your promise. Not for me, but for the part of you that will show up tomorrow. I anchor my luminous truth. Type it or say it aloud. Let the commitment be small and therefore powerful. Remember, healing is not always a rush forward. Sometimes it is the patient act of lighting another flame beside you, so the dark has company. Sometimes it is learning to be a gardener of your subtle environment, planting a new intention, weeding a habit, tending the soil of your attention. Each small tending changes the climate within, inviting different seeds to grow. You may return to this teaching whenever you need to realign. Revisit the ideas like returning to a hearth after a long day. Let them warm your hands. Let them inform how you move, how you rest, how you choose. And when the old stories arise, the ones that told you pain was destiny, meet them with curiosity rather than fury. Ask them what they needed to be seen. Listen for the answer. Before you go, commit this to memory. You are both the seeker and the sanctuary. Your energetic body remembers what your mind often forgets, that you are whole enough to heal and brave enough to become more conscious. That is not a promise from me. It is the echo of your own deeper knowing. Now, remain still. Allow the music to move through you without trying to judge, fix, or analyze. Let it wash across your shoulders, into the places that carry your story. Absorb the silence that follows. Feel gratitude bloom, small and steady. Breathe simply and be present. When you are ready, carry this state into your day. And if you would, leave the comment, "I anchor my luminous truth." You have earned the quiet. You have earned the light. Thank you for trusting this path.